Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of SEPA Paranormal Chronicles. My name is Lee, and I'm the host in case anybody's forgot. And for all you avid fans, if you can remember back to episode 11, we had a wonderful, funny talking American by the name of Sin Shrader Hill, and she spoke about EVPs. But she's back. She's back tonight. Sin, welcome.
I don't know whether I should be excited that you called me funny talking or not.
Oh, come on. I speak the King's English. Well, it used to be the Queen's English. It's now the King's English.
But they do say Southern English, the way we talk this down here is very closely related to the British English.
How dare you say that? Get out. I'm going to pause you. I'm going to stop this recording right this second. It's great to have you back, and there is a reason why we have you back, but we'll come on to that in a minute. So, how are you, my darling?
I am great, and it's so good to see you and talk to you again.
See, a lot of people are saying that. One of these days, if I go missing, I'm going to turn up shackled in Tennessee or somewhere.
Probably.
Yeah. And I'd just like to have a shout out to Tommy Cullum, because apparently I am Sin's favourite British person. Tommy is now dropped down to second. So, Tommy, when you listen to this, thumbs up for me.
You have to quantify that. That. Yeah, it's Tommy's my second favorite ginger.
Your second favourite. There we go.
My favorite British Canadian now. You're in Canada.
Stop sucking up.
I love you both.
Okay, let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
Okay, Sin, so you have just released a book. That's why you are come back so soon.
Yes.
The book is called Death's Doorstep. So, before we go into Death's Doorstep, how did this book come about?
It came about because of my fourth book, The Signs. It's Not Goodbye, Signs from Beyond. When I brought that book out, that's about near-death experiences, angel rescues, near misses, dreams and visions of our past loved ones, including pets, signs that we get, birds' feathers, we've got coins, you can smell their perfume, a special song comes on, all those things. And when I brought that book out, I had so many people coming up to me saying, I've got a story for you. I've got a sign from my dad. I've gotten a sign from my pet. I've gotten this, I've gotten that. So I was going to have to do a sequel to that book. In writing the sequel, I was getting so many near-death experiences. I thought I needed to pull those, the angel rescues, and the spirit warnings into its own book. So this one just came out the first week of July, and It's Not Goodbye 2, More Signs from Beyond, will be out at the end of August.
You could have saved that bit till the end, but okay, you mentioned it now.
You asked.
Okay, so you mentioned about the signs and like all these stories. So how long did it actually take you to collate all these stories?
I started collecting these stories right after the book was published, the Signs book was published. And honestly, I'd have to look back and see when that came out, because I've slept since then. So this was 2022. The Signs book came out.
Really?
Yeah.
You've slept?
I have a little bit. And so,
that would explain so much.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So when that came out in 2022, other stories started coming in. And I had to put everything on hold to do Mark's cookbook. So Mark Elliott Fultz is the one that does the illustrations and the covers of all of my books. And in turn, I edit his. So his cookbook took 14 and a half months. It has 1,788 recipes in it. It's
Wow.
a it's an old phone book. Look how thick it is. It's an old phone
Oh,
book of recipes, and it took my life away from me. So he told me as soon as that one came out at the end of last year, he said, "Okay, you take this next year and you do you. I will do any of the illustrations you need. You just 2025, you do you." So there we go.
well, that was nice of him to give you a year off.
Right. Basically, kind of.
Oh my god. So what I know that we spoke about it when we interviewed you in episode 11 back in the spring or whenever it was. How many, just remind me on how many books you've written and what number book this is?
This is the sixth. This is number six. So I started, the first book came out in 2018. And this is number six. Number seven will be done in just a few weeks.
Wow.
I've got
See,
I've got at least three or four others in my head that need to come out. So, and then I've got other ideas. So it's just a process.
I can imagine. And yeah, if people see me looking down, I do actually have the book on my iPad in front of me. So there's how many stories? Can you remember off the top of your head?
I can't off the top of my head.
Oh, come on, Sid. You
I
wrote the
mean,
damn thing. Come on.
I did. I did. I don't know. It's I've moved on from this one and I started the signs book. There's 35 chapters if that helps.
Okay, let's just leave it at 35 chapters. Yeah. And there's a lot more stories, and there's some really cool stories as well. So I know that I don't want to get you to talk about every single story because then people won't buy it. But then we could release this episode as an audiobook. So we could possibly so we could do that anyway. So did any one story like stand out or really make you stop and think,
More than one, actually. This book has so many different things that have happened to people that just make you scratch your head and just how did they get through that, or how did they see this and the other person saw this in their experience, and they're just incredible stories. And I have to say that I enjoyed Top Hat and Tails from someone that
don't
we all know and
don't
love.
don't I'm coming to that later. Don't mention that person.
I didn't. I just said we all
But
know and love.
but is your favorite Brit? But we'll talk about that later. Okay, so compared to how many stories, and yeah, it does sound like I'm stalling before we go into it to some of the stories, and it's true, I am.
Okay.
But but how many stories didn't make the cut, so to speak, out of how many that you have?
Oh,
There's a question that you didn't think you'd get asked.
no. Actually, there's only, I think, one I pulled out just because it just did not fit the narrative. It just to me, it wasn't a spirit warning, angel rescue, or near death experience. It just wasn't. And so it just didn't belong in this book. There is the person that submitted it also submitted another one, and that one is in the book. So he was fine with that. He understood totally.
So you kind of have a subtitle of the book of Death's Doorstep: near death experiences, angel rescues, and spirit warnings. So, do you have precise definitions of what each one of those three categories are?
To me, yes. To me.
Can you please explain what those three mean to you, please?
Absolutely. So, near death experience is in this particular book, there are people that came very near to death without dying. There are others that actually crossed that line and were brought back. So, that one is either or. And they both have had amazing experiences, glimpsing the other side, seeing dark or seeing light, just different things. Some people talked about a tunnel moving fast, a bright light, maybe seeing loved ones, talking to them. Uh, Everybody had a different experience, but there was a lot of the same ideas that came up. In angel rescues, it's those near misses, I think, that I've been involved in two myself, and I know somebody was in the car with me. I know I felt them, and I could not tell you who it was. I thought the last one I had on the interstate, I felt like it was my father sitting in the car with me. In the very first one that happened, I don't know who it was. All I can say is it was a guardian angel that was there with me. I can't say who it was. But in spirit warnings, it's the little things that happen. People even get phone calls from spirits sometimes, and it, or that gut feeling. Just don't go yet. Don't go to that space today. Don't do this today. Or anything from dropping your keys and having to pick them up, losing something at the last minute, having to go back and find it, and it puts you off maybe 20 minutes. And then you just missed a horrific accident because of it. So that's what all of these stories entail.
It's actually quite interesting because when I started reading some of the stories, and I've not read all of them, yeah, some of us actually do something called work. You might not be familiar with, but yeah, some of us have to do it. And it reminded me of a job that I went to when I was a paramedic. And I went to this little house in this small village where somebody was experiencing chest pains. Little old lady came to the picket fence to say, "My husband's upstairs." So me and my colleague Steve, had all equipment. Steve was talking to the wife. I go upstairs into the bedroom, and the wife slowly comes up the stairs, and Steve's following her while he's talking to getting the information. What's your husband's name? Has he got any medical problems? I go into the bedroom, and this guy is rolled on his left hand side. So I said to him, "Would you mind rolling over so I can assess you?" And as soon as he rolled over, he cardiac arrested. Yeah, and I did that. My jaw dropped, and I went, "Well, crap." I went, "Steve, have you got a minute? What's up?" I went, "Can you just come in?" And I went, "What?" I went, "He's just arrested." And he went, "Okay." So we started doing it, and we shocked this guy once, and he came back immediately to the point where he was talking. He went, "My chest really hurts." So I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I put the paddles on you, and I shocked you." We got him to the hospital, and I handed him over to the nurses. About 2 weeks later, me and Steve are working together again. We go to the same hospital, and we bring this patient in, broken leg or whatever. And there was a guy in this cubicle, and he went, "Yo, you." I look at him, going, "What? Like, you talking to me?" He went, "Yeah, you. Come here." I'm thinking, I didn't recognise the guy. I thought, yeah, some weird old guy. And he went, "Aren't you the guy that tried to kill me the other week?" And I went, "No, dude." Then I recognised him. I went, "No, I'm the one that brought you back." He went, "Yeah, that's it. With that machine, didn't you?" I went, "Yeah." I went, "How you doing?" "Oh, I've had chest pain since then, so I'm back in." And then a year later, we got called to him again. And as soon as I was with Steve again, as soon as we pulled in, I went, "No, it can't be the same house."
No.
And it was the same house. I walked in and went, "You, hospital, now." And you went, "Oh, it's you again." So like 3 times. And it was like, it was so
Wow.
funny. But reading those stories, that's what that reminded me of that little old guy. And it was like, it was really, really fun. Okay, so we've already mentioned that you've dedicated this book to Greg instead of me, and he's your husband, so I'm going to let that pass. Okay.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So I'm just going to pick a couple of random stories that if we can talk about, and I won't be a smart ass and go, okay, can you talk about the author's note or can you talk about the forward? I'm going to actually pick a proper story. So one that really what I went to straight away was Bulletproof.
Yes. Yes.
So can you talk to us about that one, please?
That is my friend JK, and I think I've given his information to you to reach out to him. He's a fantastic guy. He is a military veteran, and he has been through a lot. If anybody has an angel, he does. And it's because of that story, he has got an angel with him. He had bullets flying all around him during the war, and he even he could feel them go by him. They were so close. He's the gunner in the tank, in the Humvee. And so the that guy, the gunner, is the one that is the most exposed. So if someone is going to get hit when they go in, it's going to be the gunner. And he did not get hit. He was, they were ambushed. Something came up that he heard a voice tell him, "Do not go this morning. Do not." And the car blew up that did go. He's got an angel. He did not know at the time that he had so many around him, but he has since gotten in touch with the paranormal side and learning more about. And AJ is who taught him. So our mutual friend AJ Capuso. So he learned that he had several spirit guides around him, and they were very protective of him. I think his is an incredible story, and I wanted Mark to do an illustration of his story, and he did.
Wow. So it's interesting that you mention spirit guides. So in your personal opinion, because obviously you can't answer for everybody, does everybody have a spirit guide?
And that's a really hard question. I would think if I mean we're all made of the same stuff. Even though we might believe differently and honor a certain God over another. We have different religions, we have different beliefs, we have different everything, but yet we're all really the same. We're made of muscle and bone and nerves and blood, and we're all energy, all of us. So why couldn't we all have spirit guides around us? It's just, are you open to it or not? I think is the real question.
Yeah. And that, I know this is about you, but it also brings back another story that when I was a firefighter, cutting a long story short, there was a small van parked behind a truck, and then another truck came in and hit the small van. And when we pulled the second truck away, the small van was like a concertina. The driver was absolutely dead. I won't go into any more detail, but one of the bystanders actually said, "Oh, while because they were waiting at a junction, ready to turn whichever way they were going to turn," and one of the passers-by said, "Oh, there was two people in the van." So we're kind of pulling it back like a concertina and cutting, and then we saw a hand, and we reached out to grab the hand, and it grabbed us, and the passenger was still alive. And basically, a split second before this one should have been in your book, really, but I just remembered it now. Before the crash happened, he dropped something in the footwell of the vehicle, and the wreckage went straight over the top of him. And he actually walked out of that wreck with just cuts and bruises.
Incredible.
Yeah. So, yeah, you mentioned about guardian angels. Yeah. A lot of people would just say he was lucky.
Right.
Yeah,
And
because that's
coincidental. Yeah.
exactly that, and that's just human nature. But for you to be less than a foot away from somebody who was killed outright, and all you've got is a couple of scratches and cuts,
Yeah.
yeah, is there
How?
something out there? Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah. How did that happen? How in the
exactly.
world? It's I've come to a point in my life that I just don't believe in coincidences anymore. I don't. I think there's a reason everything happens. And uh, the fact that that passenger dropped something at that particular moment, not a second too soon, not a second too late, but then. It has to be some kind of divine intervention, if nothing else. I, I just that's just how I have to believe.
Yeah, which it makes sense. Yeah, yeah. If you believe in God, if you believe in yeah heaven and all that stuff, yeah, he was kept alive for a reason.
Absolutely.
He may not ever know what that reason is,
No.
but he was kept alive for a reason. But like I say, that one should have been in the book as well. But hey,
Yes,
come
it
on.
should have. Oh,
But
well,
but you
hey,
rushed you rushed me. You
now we
rushed
know.
me.
Now we know there's going to be a sequel to this one.
Yeah, and it's just yeah. This is Lee story, Lee story, Lee story, Lee story. Okay, this one I have not read, but it kind of intrigues me. Do not disturb.
That is my friend Sarah. She had an experience that is quite extraordinary. She and her husband, at the time, I think it was, I don't think they were married. I think it was a boyfriend. They had a child and they were taking him to Walt Disney World before Christmas. And they did. And they had a great holiday and came back home to New York. And she started getting sick around Christmas. And by sick, I mean she was having trouble with TMJ, the jaw. And she ended up a lot of pain going to the hospital, and they said, it's just TMJ. Go home, lie down, take your muscle relaxers, and quit bothering us. So there are too many sick people here. Go home. She almost bit her finger off by trying to put something in her mouth. And she couldn't feed herself at one point. Her family was having to feed her. They could only get a little bit of mashed potatoes down her. So she goes back to this emergency room where they berate her again and say, look, lady, you're just wanting attention. You're a drama queen. Go home. It's Christmas. We've got a lot of sick people here. We don't have time for you. Sent her home. She ended up calling her primary care doctor and saying, Doctor, something is wrong. This is not me. I don't know exactly what it is. He said, meet me at the emergency room. So she goes back to the same emergency room. He comes in immediately, takes a tongue depressor, puts it in her mouth, and she clamps it breaks it in two. And he screams, "She's got tetanus. What is wrong with you people?" She had lockjaw.
Wow.
So she had contracted. The only thing they could figure out was in the big cat section of Walt Disney World. She had sandals on. For whatever reason, they believed that she had taken her sandals off for a second because they were rubbing a blister on her foot. So if there's any break in the skin and a certain dirt or bacteria or anything can get into your system through that open area in the skin. And that's the only thing they could figure out, that there were some cats around that had that under their claws, and it was in the dirt there. So she had to be induced into a coma. Otherwise, she would have, the spasms were so bad, she would have broken her back. She was arching her back unnaturally, like you see in the possession movies, except very unnaturally. And they said, if we don't put you into a coma, it'll be inhumane.
Wow.
So they had to do that. When you go into a medically induced coma, and you'll know this, is you're not supposed to remember anything. They have amnesia drugs that they give you. You don't remember anything. So you aren't aware to pull out tubes. You don't, you know, you aren't able to react to anything. You're just there in a goldfish state. Except she wasn't. She had visitors, and it was her grandparents and a favorite uncle, one of her aunts that was distant, but she remembered her, and then some other people, and they were singing Christmas carols to her around her bed, and they were touching her and saying, "We love you," and all this stuff. And when she finally did come to, she was telling them about this, and they said, "It's impossible. You, there's no way you could have heard or seen or done anything." And she said, "But I did. But I did." So that was, uh, she finished her story with, there's only a very few people that get tetanus, and there's also very few people that win the lottery. So why couldn't it have been that instead of one? You know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
imagine going through and having ER saying, "Go home, you're not sick. Go home, you're just a drama queen," and being actually very, very sick.
Wow. Yeah, like I say, yeah, I can relate to that story, being in the medical profession myself. And unfortunately, it does happen at times when people are not believed by the healthcare professionals. But to have all these spirits visit her, were they there to protect her so that she didn't cross over? Yeah. I wonder what the purpose was of them actually being in that room. Were they there to help her to come back? Yeah, or to stop her from crossing over? It's interesting.
I think it could have been either. I think they could have been there uh, for support, but yet help lead her away if she did pass. So I think there's a twofold there, because she could have passed on at any second with that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. Because it can be. I
Very.
nearly said it can be extremely fatal, but I don't think there's any variations to the word fatal, really. It's either it's fatal or it's not. It's not extremely fatal.
I almost said very deadly. So I mean, we're on the same page.
I have called someone very dead before. And it's sort of like, yeah, are they dead? No, they're very dead. There's a difference. There is a difference between being dead and very dead. Okay, one that I'm going to mention now that is quite topical right now, and you may pick up on the topical reason when I mention it. The voodoo doll.
Yes. Now that's Mark's story. Mark is the one that does the illustrations and my covers. He's incredible, incredible human, psychic. He does plenty of remotes for us, and he's just an incredible person. He's just an incredible person. He got a spirit warning through a dream, and it was twofold. The dream was about him walking in his it was the person that he was caring for at the time, this older lady, and she wasn't in perfect health, but she wasn't about to die either. It was, she was okay. She was older, a little frail, but not terribly sick. So he had this dream. He walked in and he saw a very nice looking man lying in state in his casket. Then the casket shut and shook, and a life size voodoo doll walked out, grabbed Judith, the person that he was sitting for, and starts taking her back to the casket. In his dream, Mark knew if she got inside the casket, she was dead.
Wow.
And so he went and pulled her away from the voodoo doll. It shut, the casket shut again, and he woke up. So that was one part. He was saving his friend he was sitting for. But he knew to reach out to a voodoo person about this. And immediately they said, "Oh, I know exactly what that is." They both knew a group of people that were involved in darker things, voodoo, and they were calling down loas. And a loa is a voodoo demon, for lack of a better word, that they would put into a person. The person would become possessed with that loa, and without knowing it, they were possessed, of course, but they were having parties and inviting people to be a part of a sweat circle, which is more Native American, than anything. So this man went with his wife. She was in on it. And they called down the Loa into this man. And once he was possessed, he was walking around jerkily, just, they were laughing at him. They thought it was fun to see somebody possessed. So when he woke up, he didn't remember any of that. When he went home later, it possessed him again. And some bad things happened at that point. It's just, why would you mess with something like that?
Yeah.
Why are you terrorizing a person for fun? Why for laughs is basically what they were doing.
Well, some people do things that they shouldn't for not the right reasons.
Yeah, unfortunately.
They think it's fun, but at the end of the day, it's not.
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to move to specifically page 179.
179. I bet I
what?
know what that is.
You seriously haven't got the book open at that page?
To 179?
Yes,
Oh,
and I'd
now,
like to read that.
well, now wait a minute. So the book and the Kindle are different.
Ah,
So I don't know what page 179 in Kindle is.
I'm telling you what it is. It's in front of me. So I had the pleasure of submitting 2 stories to you, and in your words, and I think you must have been drunk while you were writing this, because the first sentence, I met this charming English gentleman, and I had to look in the mirror to make sure that it was me you were talking about. But yeah, I had to actually submitted, and I'm so grateful that you submitted both these stories, because in the uh, in the paramedic world, in the medical world, you do come across a lot of different stories, some good, some bad, and the 2 stories that, if you allow me to speak, because I know it's about
Absolutely.
you, but there's stories in
Absolutely.
your book. So the first one is I actually got called to a minor injury unit where a guy had reportedly had an epileptic seizure. As a paramedic, you get called to multiple calls of that similar nature. When we arrived, he was basically starting to recover, which is called the postictal stage. So he's slowly coming around out of his seizure that he'd had. And the medical staff were saying, yeah, he's had an epileptic seizure. But when he was able to talk, and I'm questioning him on the way to the hospital in my hometown of Boston in England, I asked him about this seizure, and he went, it was not an epileptic seizure. And I said, well, yeah, according to the medical staff, you said that it was a epileptic seizure. And he went, it wasn't. Well, how can you be so sure? And he went, because I did not see top hat and tails. And it's like, I'm sorry, you saw who? And he went, I have a spirit guide, and I've had a spirit guide ever since I was a child when I was diagnosed with epilepsy. And once I see this spirit guide, top hat and tails, I know I'm about to have a seizure. So I get myself comfortable in a place where I'm not going to hurt myself. And then the seizure occurs and then I recover. He went, I did not see top hat and tails. So, yeah, my sister was actually the nurse that I handed over to at the hospital. And I'm going, she goes, what have you got? And I went, well, somebody has had a seizure, but I don't know if it's an epileptic seizure. So I explained her the story, and she's like, her jaw drops open, and she's like, what are you talking about? And the guy went, yeah, I didn't see top hat and tails. And I mentioned it to you at the time, and when I wrote you the email with the 2 stories, it's amazing how we can't say for definite if it was a spirit guide or what it is, but if it's within his brain, it's amazing how the brain works
Yes.
for this apparition, spirit, guide, angel, fairy, whatever you want to call it, appears in front of him to tell him to prepare for a seizure. And I don't think there's anybody in the medical field that could explain what he's going through every time he has a epileptic seizure and he sees this vision.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, it's great that you could include that story in your book, because I always tell people about Top Hat and Tails,
I love that
because
story.
and it's great the fact that there's something with whatever it is that is protecting this individual
Yes.
every time he has a seizure.
Yes. And
And it's like,
epilepsy, they supposedly get this aura. They have something they might smell a certain smell or see something, and he happens to see Top Hat and Tails
Yeah.
every time.
And it's absolutely weird that, like I just said, that he sees this person. And this person warns him he's going to have an epileptic seizure. So we never did find out what caused this seizure, but he was absolutely adamant that it was not due to his epilepsy, which is that's going down that's opening up a whole new can of worms.
Right.
But,
It's an amazing
but like
story.
I say, yeah, and I should let you tell the next story, even though it's one of mine, just to see how many details you get right.
I love this one. I love because,
Yeah.
it's like the title says it. You just know when your time is up.
Yeah.
And some people, like he was just kind of patting you.
Yeah.
And, you
And
were working and, trying to do everything. And he was going, don't worry yourself.
So let's go into a little bit more detail. I was working out of a small ambulance station, and I was with a girl called Julie. And 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, we get a call to a fall. Falls are not high category calls, so we pulled out the station and dispatch stood us down. So we did a U-turn, go back to the station. As we get onto the forecourt of the ambulance station, the shift had changed over. So a different dispatcher had said, "Oh, you've got a call to a fall." So back around again, and we get stood down again. The third time they called us, we go, "We don't think this person's breathing." So it's like, how can you go from a fall to, yeah. Anyway, so we arrived on scene, and there was a mother and a daughter, and the father was collapsed on the floor, and he was literally breathing 6 breaths a minute. Normal is between 16 and 20. So we start doing some interventions, breathing for him, helping him to breathe, and he was still unconscious. Obviously, mother and daughter are extremely distressed. The father's collapsed in front of them, not knowing what to do. So we quickly decided that we weren't going to hang around. So we got him into the back of the ambulance. Just as we're about to shut the door, I said to the daughter, "What's his date of birth?" And literally the guy sat up off the gurney and recited his date of birth word for word, and then laid back down in the gurney again. And we're looking kind of like, did that just happen? And then he was unconscious again. And it was like, it happened. And it's like, did that really happen? And yeah, it did. And he sat up, said his date of birth, and then passed out again. So lights and sirens all the way to the hospital. I'd pretty much done all I could. I'd got a breathing mask on him, and I'd already cannulated him with a needle in case we had to give any drugs or anything. He was breathing on his own a lot better than what he was. And as we pulled into the driveway of the hospital, I'd been holding his hands for about the last 5-10 minutes, just reassuring him. And I could feel him holding my hand and holding it tight. And then as we pulled into the entrance to the emergency, I said to him, "It's okay. We're at the hospital now. Hopefully everything's going to be okay." He turned to me with his eyes closed. He got his other hand, put it on mine, tapped it in like a there motion, and then went back to his position. And as soon as we got him into the hospital, he arrested. They managed to get him back until such time. Well, not until such time, but his family were very close behind. So they knew what was going on. It was not sustainable with life. And as soon as the family turned up, he passed away. But it's absolutely, it's not very often that you get, I won't say the word shocked, but stunned by something like that happens, where first off he sits up and answers a question and then kind of passes out again. And then he acknowledged the fact that it was at hospital, and it felt like he was reassuring me
Yes.
about,
You,
that I tried to
you've
save
done
him.
all you could. You've done all you could.
Exactly.
You've done a
Exactly. Yeah.
wonderful job. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Yeah. And it really did like pull on the heartstrings.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And Julie's going, "Are you okay?" And I explained to her what happened. And it was a really like emotionally charged like situation. But yeah, did he actually know that his time was up? Or was he such a caring person that he had enough compos mentis, so to speak, to actually say, yeah, okay, yeah, you've done your part. Thank you very much. And that was his way of saying thank you. But it's one thing that I would never, ever forget
Yeah.
because it was such a strange sensation or experience for it to happen.
I can't imagine him actually sitting up and reciting his birth date to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it
That is
was weird.
just
And it was, yeah,
bizarre.
if you didn't know any better, you'd say that he'd got electric shock the way he just sat up and went 30th of the 5th, 1942 or whatever, and then back down again. It's
Right back
sort of
down.
like, yeah,
What just happened? Yeah.
yeah. And
What?
it's like,
How
yeah,
did?
okay, yeah. Sadly, yeah, the gentleman passed, but he passed in such a relaxed environment. Yeah, okay, he was in the hospital and people were running around,
Hmm. Hmm.
but it kind of, it seemed like he waited until his family was there, his wife and his daughter,
Hmm.
and then just drifted away.
Right. Right. It's just
So,
so odd. Even.
yeah, it is. And it's like, yeah, again, thank you for including both of my stories.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, because
I
yeah,
love
and
them. I love
as soon
them.
as a person comes up and offers me my first autograph, I'm going to thank you for it.
That's wonderful.
So, Sin, I'm not going to give any more stories away because if people want to read them, they can buy the book, and if you don't buy the book, I will hunt you down, each and every one of you. I'm not going to know that you haven't bought the book. You can just tell me you have, and everything's good. So, is it in hardback as well as electronic?
It is. It is in hardback, paperback, Kindle, and Audible. So if you don't want to read it yourself, you can have it read to you.
Is it in your voice, Sin?
No, I didn't have time to do it myself. So,
Well, you've got a free year. Mark said you have.
not really because I'm working on books.
Okay, so like I said, yeah, Kindle, ebooks, hard copies. Is it hard copy just local to Tennessee, or is it bigger?
No, it is. It is all over. Anywhere that there is an Amazon, you can get these books. So UK, Canada, it's all over Amazon. Just look up Sin Shrader Hill, and you'll find them.
And that's you.
That's me. That is me.
You are the author of that book.
I am. That is 6 books, about to be 7 books, and they're all in paperback, Kindle, and Audible versions. There's a couple only in hardback right now. So there is that.
So this was number 6. You said number 7's going to be out in a few weeks.
Yes.
What about 8, 9, and 10? What have you got planned for those?
There is a spooky story book coming out. I've already got, I guess, half of that one, stories for that one. I'm also going to do a book on the old hospital here. And if anybody ever watches Ghost Adventures, they came to the old hospital and actually did a fairly decent investigation after we told them they didn't need a script. So they showed up with a script and actually threw it out and went in and did what you're supposed to do and investigate. So you can look that up on their episodes.
I was going to say, I want to interrupt you because it's like, was I seeing things then, or did I just see a cat's head?
Yeah, she. This is like the 4th time I guess she's jumped up, but she's She is queen bee of the castle. This is Bella, and she has to be involved. She
It's
is.
like, when are you going to write a book about me, Mum?
She actually has been in. She was written about in the first book because I had a ghost cat here. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was before I actually moved her into my husband's bachelor pad. We got married. I'm his second wife, and so as I was moving things in, Bella was the last thing I was going to move in because cats are kind of funny about new places and a lot of commotion going on. So I wanted everything unpacked and fixed so she could just come in really easy. But before she got here, we were married, and one night my husband had fallen asleep before me. He is an early bird. I am not. And I was just lying there fighting for sleep and trying to go to sleep, and the cat jumped up on the bed. And I was almost asleep, and I thought, "Aw, Bella's going to lie at my feet tonight." And then I completely woke up to, wait a minute, Bella's not here yet. And so
Wow.
within the next, I don't know, few days, it happened again, and he had not fallen asleep yet. And I said, "Did you feel that?" And he said, "Yep." And I said, "What was it?" "Don't know." I said, "Has it happened before?" "Yes." And I said, "Were you going to tell me about it?" "Nope." And I said,
Talkative, your husband, did he?
"Yeah." I said, "Why not? Why weren't you going to tell me about it?" He said, "I was waiting for you to tell me what it was."
Wow.
And I
That's
said,
cool.
it's a ghost cat. We have a ghost cat.
Oh,
So,
man. I
yeah,
love
we had
that.
a ghost cat for a while. And when I brought Bella in, it didn't, she wasn't worried. The ghost cat wasn't worried. Everybody got along. So there's that.
Perfect. That's perfect end. So, what's next for Sin Trader Hill apart from the next couple of books that we've already mentioned?
Yeah, I've got a couple of speaking engagements coming up. One is, and of course, Bella just laid down on my notes, but September 20th, I'll be in Greenwood Happy Haunts in Indiana with the middle-aged and creeped out podcast crew for Creep Show 2025. And I'll be talking about signs from our loved ones. Austin Lawrence will be there talking
I
about
love
the Dead
Austin.
Chronicles. Yeah. So that's going to be fun. And then in October, I'll be at Goblin Con in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. That is going to be October 17th and 18th. And I'll be speaking again about signs from our loved ones. So that's going to be fun. This month, I guess it's in a couple of weeks, it is the 70th anniversary of the Goblin incident in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. 70th anniversary of when this family got terrorized by these little goblins, alien like things. So they're actually having a 70th anniversary this
Goblin
month.
convention.
Yeah.
Well, I would love to come to the one in September, but I'm in Fiji, so I'm not going to come.
Do you know what? Have a drink for me in Fiji.
Just the one.
Just one. I don't drink much.
A
I
bit,
get too giggly. Yeah.
oh, perfect. I'll buy you a drink next time I see you. Sin, it's been a pleasure like it was last time. I absolutely love talking to you. You've got so many stories, and next time, please don't finish on a goblin story because I think I want to learn more. But don't say another
See?
word. Don't say another word. Next time, episode 3.
Yep.
But like I say, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. I love you to bits. I love talking to you, and we will be talking again very soon.
Thank
Thanks
you
very
so
much. Take
much.
care.